watched over 2 hours of equestrian hack videos to see which ones actually work, and in today's video, I'm sharing my results. Sometimes I find if I have my stirrups rolled up and my saddle's in the trailer, or even Tucker will wear his saddle in the trailer, sometimes the stirrups will scratch my saddle. One hack I saw is you can take an old sock and pull it over your stirrup to keep it from scratching your saddle. Saddles are expensive, so I want to do all I can to protect my saddle. I am going to use this because it seems useful, and I have a bunch of socks laying around, so instead of just losing them or throwing them away, now I can recycle them. This next hack is to test on horses that don't like syringes. So Tucker here does not like a syringe going in his mouth, whether it's dewormer or medicine or anything like that. So for this next thing, what they said to do is take your thumb and hook it into the side of their mouth. And he's already like, nope, I'm not gonna do that. So I hook, and then I would take my syringe and stick it up there. So that actually worked. He let me do that. Another thing I personally do too is you can take your horse's head around to the side here. And if you hold it like this, because when they're to the side, they can't really throw their head up. And then I'll take my syringe and I could stick it into his mouth like this. So that's what I personally do, but I think both will work. In this next hack, I'm going to use olive oil to hopefully cure some scratches in the leather of my saddle. This is a nice big scratch here, so I'm going to try it on this one first and see what happens. Now with this scratch, the leather was actually ripped a little bit, so I'm not expecting it to really work on this one. But you can see it did darken it, so it's not as noticeable. This is more of a scuff on my saddle that I'm gonna try this with, so here's the olive oil. Oh wow, that did make it go away. I guess this is more for scuffs in the leather and not like deeper scratches like that was, but I'm impressed and I do like this. Like I just coat it and they're gone. I'm very excited for this hack, and it is a hack for cleaning your grooming brushes. So in this bucket, I have a vinegar and water solution, and then in this bucket, I have some baking soda. For this hack, I'm gonna just cover my curry comb here that's really dirty and grimy with some baking soda as such, and I'm gonna put it in this water, and hopefully what's gonna happen is the scientific solution or whatever is gonna make the dirt bubble off of the brush. Here we go. Oh wow. So here's our brush after the fact. The dirt didn't completely boil off, like around here. Here is a very dirty and grimy hard brush that I use to apply swat onto my horses, so it's sticky and grimy. Yeah. So I'm gonna see how well it works with this disgusting brush. Oh wow. Oh, that's what I wanted to see. Ew, but you can see the dirt coming up with the bubbles. So I've let this brush soak for a few minutes. The bristles are still stuck together. I think it cleaned the surface level dirty brushes a lot better. I would go ahead and endorse this hack here, but not if you're trying to clean very, very dirty and disgusting brushes. This next hack is for fidgety horses. So Yoshi has to get eye medicine, and he tends to get really fidgety and he doesn't like it done. So someone said to put a little piece of tape on your horse's nose, and you don't really have to press it down hard, but just kind of lay it on their nose. And that is supposed to distract them while you do whatever you need to do. I'm gonna do his eye medicine and see what he does, if he responds as normal. Oh, good boy. Hey, Yoshi. Good boy, good boy. So part of me thinks that actually worked because Yoshi wasn't as bad as he usually is. I've heard that this is best for horses that just need to stand still. So whether you're trying to soak their feet or maybe stand for the farrier, that's where this would come in. I would recommend trying this. It's actually pretty cold right now and my hands are getting cold. So I'm gonna go ahead and try another hack. With this hack, I have some of these surgical gloves, and I'm gonna put these on. What I've heard is you can wear these under your normal gloves and your hands will stay warmer, and it also allows your hands to stay flexible, because usually sometimes with gloves it feels like you can't really move your fingers. They feel better already. If you've ever messed with these things, you know how annoying they are. For me, it is almost impossible for me to load one of these by myself. Usually I need to go get Colin or have another person hold it open while I stick the hay in. In this hack, someone recommended using an old grain bag to first put your hay in. So I have an empty bag here. I'm gonna stick my hay in here. Let's see if I can even do that by myself. Okay, maybe you're supposed to do this with a bigger grain bag. Maybe that's what I messed up, but I got my flake in there. So now I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna take it where the rings are, put it over the bag. Oh, I like that. That worked. It was a little hard getting my hay in the bag, but it was very easy getting the hay into the net. So I think that hack actually works. This next hack, I know that it works. Tucker here hates getting his winter blanket taken off because it always shocks him, or if I touch him and he has his blanket on, he'll get shocked. So if you take a dryer sheet with you and on your hands, and you can touch your horse first with the dryer sheet, or even like if I take his blanket off, I'll take one of these and I'll just like rub it all over him to start with. And that way I kind of get rid of the static on him. But I find that this is really useful, especially for a horse that holds a grudge. So try these dryer sheets. For our next cleaning hack, I'm gonna use this little scrubby brush that you can fill with some dish detergent, and I'm gonna use it to clean some of my nasty feed buckets. This may disgust a lot of people, but I only clean my feed buckets probably once a year, just because they get dirty the very next day. So if I can find a little solution on how to keep them clean, that will be nice. Here's my nasty feed bucket, and I already put a little bit of water in there. Then I'm just gonna squeeze this and get some soap squishing out. Honestly, I don't know if this would be better than a handheld sponge, like with a really scrubby side. I like those sponges, and that's actually what I do use. And I just think that's a lot easier than with this thing. I mean, this is useful, and I guess if I had this around the barn, I may clean my buckets a little more. But I don't know if I'm gonna change my current way of doing things. This next hack was recommended if you wanted to get your horse's tail looking nice. A normal tail brush tends to rip out horse's hair and actually thin the tail. One person recommended just brushing your horse's tail with your hand, and that way, you know, you're not ripping out as much hair. So I'm just gonna try this real quick and see what I think. I think this would work if I had used like a show sheen before or a detangler. Otherwise, it's really hard to get through his tail without ripping some out. So that's what I would recommend for this, to use detangler first and then kind of brush through with your fingers. This next hack is one that I personally use, so I know that it works. This hack is basically using diapers to pack wounds on your horse. For Yoshi, I have newborn diapers, so I'll undo the diaper like that, and then for an abscess, for example, I just stick it right there, and then you can kind of pull the diaper around however you need to. I take the little stickies and stick it like that. So you can put the hoof ointment inside the diaper and then stick it, and then I'll wrap it with vet wrap. And that works really well for abscesses. You can also use diapers like on the hock as a great wrap. So yes, I highly recommend this hack. I think it's amazing, and it's a lot cheaper than some of the stuff you usually get for horses. This next hack is pretty popular, and I've seen it in a lot of places. And what it basically is if you don't have scissors or a pocket knife to cut your baling twine, you can take another piece of twine, and then you're just gonna create friction to break the rope. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna hit myself in the face. Okay, so I did that for longer than I wanted to, probably 30 seconds. I only got maybe halfway through this piece of twine, and in my opinion, I'm like, it's just not worth it. I'd rather walk and get the scissors and come back. So in my book, this is a no-go, but I can see how it's useful if there's just nothing laying around to use. Instead of going to the hassle of going like this, one thing I do if I don't have scissors is I just put my knee into a corner, and then I'll pull the twine off, and it's super easy. That would be my hack for this. If you've ever had to clean braided reins, you know what a pain it is. So for this next hack, I'm gonna be using a toothbrush to clean my tack. This wasn't mentioned in any of the hacks I watched, but I did make sure to get a soft bristled toothbrush just so my tack doesn't get scratched. I put some saddle cleaner on my toothbrush. Let's see if this will spread out if I keep doing this. Oh, I'm not liking the way this is looking. So I would not recommend this for reins. As you can see, all the goop is still now really wedged and stuck down in there, so I'm gonna have to work to get that out. I would more so use this to just remove dirt from your tack rather than like applying cleaner into cracks in smaller areas. This next hack should help dry your horse faster. Right here, we made a little wet spot on Tucker. We poured some water on him. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some baby powder and put it on the wet area and then just rub it in. Oh, Tucker'd like that spread too, don't you? Let me put some more on. So Tucker is still wet. So I could see like how your horse may be around the girth where it's just kind of damp. I could see how this would work, but I would not recommend this for a horse that's just got done working. I think they need to be cooled out, and you could put a cooler on them and wait, but I would not use this because he's still pretty wet, even though I put on a lot of baby powder. If you have a horse that's a particularly messy eater, I know this hack works because I use it myself, but I will feed them in a giant tub. So this is Yoshi's giant tub because he drops his food everywhere. And I just put his food in there and he'll eat, and it catches a lot of what he drops. I recommend that if your horse is losing a lot of grain out of their mouth, like if they're old or they have bad teeth or something, investing in a giant tub will work wonders when it comes to saving that food when your horse drops it. This is how Yoshi responds to spray bottles. He does not like spray bottles. One hack someone gave is you spray the substance on a sponge, so if it's like fly spray, and then you can wipe your horse down with it. Good boy, Yosh. And he's much better with that. My only beef with this is I do kind of want my horses to eventually become desensitized to the spray bottle, just because I think through life that would help them out a little bit more. But I can see like if you're kind of in a rush and it just needs to get done, this could be a solution. Or if you have a horse that's really upset, this could be a temporary solution. If you're looking for a way to just make your barn seem cleaner, this may be a hack for you. I don't like things laying around in my barn. And so one hack recommended wrapping your lead ropes, and that way it'll just seem like there's a little bit more space in your tack room. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go for about a foot, maybe not even a foot, like that. And I'm gonna fold my lead rope back on itself, kind of. Next, I'm gonna just take my lead rope and wrap it around that. I don't know if there's necessarily like a right or wrong way in terms of the way you wrap it, but this is how I do it. And if you start running out of room, you can just always push up kind of. Then, so you see I have this little loop left. I'm gonna just stick the end of my lead rope through that. There you go, a little neater. Consensus is that is just something that's very satisfying to do, so I see why people like it. It does take a minute, so if I'm in a rush, I'm probably not gonna do it. But if I have the time, definitely. Today's video is sponsored by my online courses. So my online courses cover horse care and groundwork training and a bunch of things like that. So I'll put the link to those courses in the description, or you can go to shop.equinehelper.com and check those out. I hope you enjoyed this horse hacks compilation, and if you did, please be sure to leave us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button.